What's the worst roommate or neighbor you ever had before?
I had a neighbor that used to listen in under my door, bro, while I was fucking.
For real?
Yeah, I caught her on the Ring camera. That's the craziest shit. That's those Atlanta days, man. I lived in Atlanta for 8 years, and I have some stories. Yes.
So she could hear every time she heard you?
Every time we was getting it cracking, she was like listening. A fucking peeping Tom.
What's the worst roommate or neighbor you ever had before? Why?
Oh, this happened recently, man. I was staying with my family, my father and my sister, and we had roommates in the apartment building. And those neighbors. And those neighbors have children, and they were just very obnoxious, and they would bang on our window and our door and kick it and stuff. And so one night, I just got tired of it, and I asked them politely. I was like, "Can y'all stop doing this? We know that it was y'all kids. Y'all want to have fun, but can y'all please stop?" And one of the kids threw a shoe at me, so hit me right in the head.
What's the worst roommate or neighbor you ever had before, and why?
I had a female that used to sell drugs as a roommate, and she just had always people coming to the door and stuff. And it's never at all hours of the night and all hours of the day. It was nonstop. And at the time, I didn't notice how big she was, but she was pretty big. The whole city was selling. She was selling to the whole city and shit.
And how did that affect you?
Oh, I can't no privacy. That they shot up my pad. A lot of shady things happened at my pad. My water heater got stolen. You know, people used to OD in the front yard.
Worst roommate or neighbor you ever had before?
Oh, shit. Actually, this one's pretty recent. Currently where I live at, I had these neighbors, and, dude, they were just anal about everything. They would just complain about parking and stuff. Like, if we would park, like, outside of their house, even though it wasn't blocking their driveway and stuff, they would call the cops and shit, or, like, just ring their alarm the whole night till we moved it. Or, like, let's say we're parking and stuff, they would come outside, see, like, make sure we don't hit their car and shit. And just a bunch of weird shit. And, like, I think one of the ladies, she was doing, like, some weird voodoo shit. It's, like, they had a whole bunch of shrines for La Santa Muerte, which is, like, Lady Death. Yeah. And a lot of, like, people believe on it. And, you know, she was a big, like, I guess, believer of it and shit. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, that's the worst neighbor I've ever had.
And have you ever had any bad things happen to you after that?
Actually, dude, after they moved and everything, I got hella sick. I had to get my appendix removed and 12 inches of my small intestine. So I'm like, fuck, maybe she put some shit out of it.
What's the worst roommate or neighbor you ever had before?
We have some neighbors we used to fight with every day because they didn't like us. We used to play loud music. They used to try to call the managers, the landlord on us and shit. So we used to get into it with them all the time because they always try to get us kicked out. So we used to get into it with them every day. It's like it's always a few when we have parties, and then they try to turn their music up to try to outdo us, and then we end up having an argument, sometimes fighting, getting a police call. Some people end up going to jail.
And did you have to deal with these neighbors for a long time, or eventually?
Kind of a long time, probably about 2 years would be the longest, and then we would end up moving to a different place because they would keep calling the landlords on us.
And did the landlord like make you want to leave or something like that?
Yeah.
Eventually?
Yeah.
And did you ever like see them after like you moved and stuff?
Yeah, I see them all the time. We will move down the street, around the corner, but we would still be in the area because that's the area that we grew up in, so we would still be over there.
And after you left, did it cause fights still? Did you see them or just neutral?
Nah, we would just see them and probably laugh. Like, I remember y'all called the police on us. We moved around the corner or we moved down the street. But we would still go over there and hang out just to make them mad, hang out in front of their building and drink and smoke and play loud music.
What's your biggest regret and why?
Damn. Shit, probably about this. I think I told you this story too. Probably about like 3 years ago. Shit, I used to go car hopping. Used to break into cars and shit. I was young, so like I broke into a car one night. I came across like a bunch of racks, hundreds and fifties. Blew through all that shit in like a month. Had a car, had all that shit, lost all that shit. And my people was in my ear talking about save the money. I'm like, I'm gonna be good. Then I saved the money, went back to square root one, I had some shit to show for it though. Like I had some shit, but it's like damn, I kind of lost it all. That was a big setback. Like I was up, that shit fucked me up. That shit kind of put me like in depression, cause I was really up chilly, like you know. But I got it all back. Like I'm good now, but that was like damn. If I would have stayed like that until this point, like I would have been like, I would have been one of them ones, no doubt. But
what mistakes you feel like you made that didn't get you to keep the money? Why you say you blew it quick?
I was just spending that shit, wanting to get fresh, wanting to get high. I felt like shit. I just had an image to maintain or some shit, and then being out in the streets and shit like that, you know. Yeah.
What do you feel like you should have done with the money?
For real, I really felt like I should have just put that shit up. Like, I should have just gave that shit to my moms or something. Or like, I ain't know nothing about like stocks and trades and investments until like I kind of got like older. So if I would have fuck around, did my research on that shit when I was younger, I probably would have invested into some shit, you know? Because I had some chili on me, so yeah.
What's your biggest regret, you would say?
Biggest regret was I got involved in the AMC thing, the whole GameStop AMC thing. Had about $200,000 in options. Didn't sell, held on to it like a dumbass. Probably my biggest regret.
And how much did you lose, you would say?
I mean, I ended up profiting overall, but I mean, I watched it go from 200,000 down to 150, down to like 125, 75, 50,000. I never pulled out, you know, and I'm stuck working it.
How much did you pull out, and when you finally decided to pull out, how much did you have?
I think I profited maybe about like 10,000. I started with 7,000. So I mean, you know, I did pretty good, but I could have done a lot better, you know. Just listen to all the FUD.
What made you not pull out at 200,000?
Man, I just listened to all the FUD. I just thought that it would go higher for whatever reason. I just had this diamond hands. Didn't work out. And yeah, dude, just huge regret.
And when it started going down, you didn't think about pulling out either?
No, because the thing is that it went up, right? So the first time it like spiked, I had like 63,000. And I was like, oh shit. So I held on to it. It went down a little bit, and then it went up to 200,000. And then I was like, okay, maybe it can go to like $1 million or whatever, or maybe I could get like $1 million or whatever. It ended up never happening, and definitely should have pulled out. I had, you know, like 5, 6, probably more chances than that. A bunch of stops it took a break at.
I got a question. When you're having sexual intercourse, do you pull out? Do you know when to pull out?
Yeah. I always pull out. Raw dog and pull out.
Have you ever dined a dash before?
Yeah. So I was set up to this Dine and Dash.
Me too.
I was set up. So we went to the Waffle House, and I was like, my homegirls was like, listen, we just go in here and eat. And I was like, well, I don't got no money. They was like, they all looked at each other. Was like, listen, don't worry, we got you. And I was like, okay, cool. So we see, and they all ordered something quick and fast. And I was like, okay. I was like, they was like, you can get whatever you want on the menu. And I'm like, okay, so I ordered whatever I wanted on the menu. And I noticed they was ordering like something that was quick and fast. And I was like, okay. So when they brought their food out, and they was halfway done with their food, and then my food got out, and I was eating my food, and then they all was getting ready to get up and leave, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, why y'all getting up and leave? They like, girl, you better hurry up and come on. And before I know it, they all just ran out, and I was sitting there like, and they like, you better come on now. And so I was kind of like forced into Dine and Dashing.
And you dipped out?
Hell yeah, I wasn't paying for it. I didn't have no money.
And they didn't chase you or anything like that?
No, we was fast. By the time I got out of there, the car was already started, and I was in that mud.
With my shit, homeboy. Don't fuck with my shit. Don't lay no fingers on me, fam.
I told you not to do that, all right?